The sunlight poured into our bedroom, casting a warm glow over the sheets. I thought it was just another beautiful morning, a day filled with the usual routine. But as I reached for Ethan's phone on the nightstand, curiosity bubbled up inside me. I had no idea that my life was about to change forever. My fingers moved hesitantly over the screen, and there they were, messages that made my heart drop. They were flirty, intimate, and clearly not meant for my eyes. Each word felt like a dagger, piercing through the happy life I thought we shared. "Lila, you're my muse," he had always said. But now, those words felt like a cruel joke. How could he betray me like this? The man I loved, the man I trusted, was hiding a secret life right under my nose. "Ethan," I called out, my voice shaky. No response. He was still sleeping, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing inside me. I could feel despair wrapping around my heart like a vice. How could he do this? I stumbled back, my mind racing with questions. Was I not enough for him? Had all our promises meant nothing? I wandered into the kitchen, feeling like a ghost in my own home. The walls, once filled with laughter, now felt cold and unwelcoming. I needed to think clearly, not act on impulse. I had to devise a plan. I couldn't just confront him now. I needed time to gather my thoughts. As I stared out the window at the bright sky, the painful realization hit me. This wasn't just about our marriage. It was an attack on my very identity. Who was I, if not Ethan's wife? My heart ached with the weight of that knowledge. I was no longer the woman who inspired him. I was the woman he betrayed. Suddenly, the kitchen felt too small, the air too thick. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. I had always been the supportive partner, the one who encouraged his dreams. But now I felt lost. I needed to reclaim my sense of self, to figure out who I was beyond this betrayal. A noise pulled me from my thoughts. Ethan's footsteps echoed through the hallway, and I quickly wiped away the tears that had formed in my eyes. I didn't want him to see me like this, vulnerable and broken. I forced a smile as he entered the room, his face lighting up when he saw me. "Hey, beautiful, what's for breakfast?" he asked, his voice warm and casual. I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. How could he act as if nothing was wrong? "Just some toast and coffee," I replied, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. He leaned in, pecking my cheek. "Thanks, babe. You always know how to start my day right." A part of me wanted to scream. I wanted to tell him everything, that I knew about Clara, that I felt shattered, that I was terrified of losing myself. But instead, I nodded and forced a smile, feeling like an actress in a play. I couldn't let him see how deeply he had hurt me. Not yet. As he sat at the table, I felt the weight of my decision pressing down on me. I would not let this betrayal define me. I would find a way to turn this pain into strength. But first, I had to gather my courage. I had to prepare for what was coming. The sun continued to shine outside, but inside, I was in darkness. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of my journey, a journey towards reclaiming my identity and finding my voice again. How would I confront the man I once adored? What would I uncover about myself along the way? As the days passed, I felt a mix of anger and sadness swirling inside me. I was determined to regain control of my life. I started to observe Ethan closely. Each time he walked through the door with that carefree smile, I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. How could he be so relaxed when everything was falling apart? I noticed the little things, a casual tone in his voice, the way he laughed at jokes that were no longer funny to me. It was as if he was juggling lies, and I was the only one who could see it. "Hey, Lila, you coming out with us tonight?" my friend Sarah asked me one afternoon. She had been my rock since the discovery. I paused, looking at her. "I don't know. I feel different." I could see the concern in her eyes. "Different is good. It's time for you to reclaim yourself." Remember how much you loved dancing? Let's go out and have some fun." Her words sparked something within me. I remembered the joy I felt when I danced, the freedom it gave me. I nodded, a small smile breaking through my sadness. "Okay, let's go." That night, as the music pulsed around me, I felt alive again. Each beat seemed to lift the weight off my shoulders. I danced as if no one was watching, losing myself in the rhythm. I could see Sarah smiling at me from across the room, her eyes bright with encouragement. "Lila, you look amazing," she shouted over the music. I laughed, realizing how far I had come in just a few days. The pain was still there, but it was transforming into something else: motivation. I started to turn my hurt into art. I picked up my paintbrush and let the colors flow from my heart onto the canvas. Each stroke was like releasing a piece of my pain, and I felt lighter with every splash of paint. One evening, I was in my studio, completely lost in my work, when my phone buzzed. It was a message from Ethan. "Hey babe, just checking in. Hope you're doing okay." I stared at the screen, a mix of anger and sadness bubbling up again. "Checking in?" I muttered to myself. "You're the last person I want to hear from." I took a deep breath and replied, "I'm fine, just busy with some art." I hit send, my fingers trembling a bit. It felt good to assert my independence, even in a small way. As I continued to paint, I noticed my friends rallying around me more than ever. They would show up at my door with takeout and laughter, reminding me of the joy we once shared. One afternoon, while we sat on the couch, Sarah turned to me. "Lila, you are stronger than you think. Look at you. You're painting again, you're dancing, and you're smiling. It's like you're coming back to life." I smiled back, feeling a warmth spread through me. "I think I am. It's just, I need to find out who I am without Ethan." "Exactly. You're not just his wife, you're Lila. You deserve to be happy on your own terms." Her words resonated with me. Each day, I felt myself transforming from a heartbroken woman into someone who could stand tall. I was no longer just a shadow of my former self. I was starting to carve out a new identity. As I embraced this journey of self-discovery, I realized that my pain was not a weakness, but a stepping stone. I began to look forward to each day, knowing that I was reclaiming my life piece by piece. I felt a desire growing within me, not just for revenge, but to truly understand who I was, to embrace the woman I was becoming. In the quiet moments, when the world slowed down, I found myself thinking, this is just the beginning. The path ahead was unclear, but for the first time in a long while, I felt hopeful. I was ready to face whatever came next, and I would do it with strength and grace. The evening air hung heavy with anticipation as I made my way to our favorite restaurant. The familiar sounds of laughter and clinking glasses greeted me, but tonight felt different. The place that once held so many happy memories now seemed like a stage for my confrontation with Ethan. I had spent the day preparing, not just the meal, but my resolve. I could not let this moment slip away. As I sat at the table, I watched Ethan talk about his day, his words a blur as my mind raced. He was laughing, seemingly carefree, oblivious to the storm brewing within me. I couldn't help but feel a rush of anger mixed with empowerment. Each smile he flashed felt like a slap in the face, a reminder of the betrayal I had uncovered. "Lila, are you even listening?" Ethan asked, a hint of concern creeping into his voice. "Yes, I am," I replied, forcing a smile. "But I need to talk to you about something important." His expression shifted slightly, curiosity replacing the easygoing demeanor. "What's on your mind?" I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of my emotions pressing against my chest. "It's about Clara." Ethan's smile faded, and I watched as the color drained from his face. "What do you mean?" I leaned in closer, my heart pounding in my ears. "I know about your relationship with her, The messages, the late nights. I know everything. He blinked, confusion overtaking his features. Lila, that's not... Not what? I interrupted, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. Not true? Not my business? Because it feels very much like my business right now. Ethan shifted in his seat, a look of panic dawning in his eyes. I didn't mean for you to find out this way. It wasn't supposed to happen. Wasn't supposed to happen? I raised my voice slightly, unable to contain the hurt that welled up inside me. You thought you could keep it a secret? You thought I would just sit here, blissfully unaware? I thought... He started, but his words faltered. I thought you wouldn't understand. Understand what? I asked, my heart racing. Understand that you broke our vows? Understand that you shattered my trust? I was your muse, Ethan. How could you do this to me? His face crumpled as he began to comprehend the gravity of what I was saying. I'm sorry, Lila. I didn't mean to hurt you. It just happened. I didn't want to lose you. Lose me? I echoed, bitterness lacing my tone. You already have. You chose her. You made that choice when you decided to betray me. I could see the fear flash in his eyes, and for the first time, I felt a surge of strength. I was no longer the shattered woman he had left behind. I was reclaiming my power, piece by piece, and this moment was pivotal. I deserve better than this, Ethan. I deserve honesty and respect. He opened his mouth to speak, but I held up my hand, silencing him. No more excuses. You need to face the truth of your actions. This isn't just about you anymore. The atmosphere around us felt charged, like the calm before a storm. I knew that the path ahead would be painful, but I was prepared to walk it. I had taken the first step in reclaiming my life, and I would not let him take that away from me. Ethan's expression shifted, and I could see the realization dawning upon him. What do you want me to do? He asked, his voice barely a whisper. I want you to understand the consequences of your choices, I said firmly. And I want you to know that I will not be waiting for you to make things right. This is my time to heal, and I will do it without you. As the words hung in the air, I felt a sense of liberation wash over me. This confrontation was not just about exposing his lies, it was about reclaiming my identity and my future. I was done being a victim of his choices. I was ready to step into the light, leaving the shadows of betrayal behind. The moment I revealed the truth to Ethan, the air in the room shifted. It was as if a storm had erupted, sending waves of emotion crashing over us. I watched his face change from confusion to disbelief and then to fear. His eyes widened, and for a brief second, I felt a strange sense of satisfaction. I had taken control. I had said the words that would change everything. What do you mean, Lila? He stammered, his voice shaky as he tried to grasp what was happening. You can't be serious. I am serious, Ethan, I replied, my voice steady despite the chaos swirling inside me. I know about Clara. I saw the messages. His expression crumbled as he realized the depth of my knowledge. You don't understand, he pleaded, desperation creeping into his tone. It was just a fling. It didn't mean anything. Then what did our marriage mean? I shot back, my heart racing. All those years, all those promises? You called me your muse, Ethan. How can you call me that while betraying me? He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. I could see the gears turning in his mind, desperately trying to find a way to salvage this moment. But the reality hung heavy between us. This was not just a simple mistake. It was a betrayal that shattered the foundation of our lives together. As I watched him struggle, a wave of sorrow washed over me. Yes, I felt empowered, but I also felt an ache in my heart. I had loved this man, and now I was watching him unravel. Ethan, I said softly, this hurts me too. I didn't want it to come to this. I never wanted to hurt you, he whispered, running a hand through his hair. a gesture I had seen countless times before. "I made a mistake. Please, let's talk about this." I shook my head, feeling the tears I had held back begin to spill over. "What is there to talk about? You've already made your choice. You chose Clara." "Please don't say that," he begged, taking a step closer. "I didn't mean for it to happen. I thought we could fix this." "Fix it?" I echoed, incredulous. "You think I can just pretend like nothing happened? Like I didn't see the messages? I can't live a lie, Ethan. Not anymore." His shoulders slumped, and for a moment, I saw the man I once knew beneath the layers of guilt and regret. "I'm so sorry, Lila. I never wanted to lose you." "Then why did you risk it all?" I asked, my voice breaking. "Why did you let it get this far?" He looked away, unable to meet my gaze. "I don't have an answer. I messed up. I was selfish." I felt a mix of anger and sorrow, but I knew I had to be strong. "I can't stay here, Ethan. I need to move out. I need space to heal." He looked up at me, panic flashing in his eyes. "No, please, don't leave. We can work through this. I'll do anything." "No," I said firmly, wiping my tears. "This isn't just about you anymore. I need to find myself again, and I can't do that here." The silence that followed was deafening. I could feel the weight of our shared memories pressing down on us. Years of laughter, dreams, and love now reduced to this painful moment. "You're making a mistake," he finally said, his voice low and defeated. "Maybe," I replied, my heart heavy. "But I have to try. I deserve to be happy, Ethan. I deserve to be free." As I walked away from the restaurant, I felt a mix of emotions swirling within me. I had taken a monumental step, but the ache of loss lingered. Leaving Ethan meant stepping into the unknown, and that frightened me. But deep down, I knew it was the right choice. The decision to move out was not just about finding a new place, it was about reclaiming my life. I was breaking free from the chains of betrayal and stepping into a new chapter. This was my emotional liberation, and I was determined to embrace it, even if the path ahead felt daunting. In that moment, I realized that I was not just leaving behind a relationship. I was leaving behind the parts of myself that had been lost in the shadows of deceit. I was ready to heal. I spent my days diving deep into my art. Each stroke of the brush felt like a release, a way to channel my pain and frustration into something beautiful. I would sit for hours in my small studio, surrounded by canvases and colors, letting my emotions flow freely. The world outside faded away as I poured my heart onto the canvas. One afternoon, my friend Sarah visited. She entered the studio with a bright smile, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Wow, Lila, this is beautiful," she exclaimed, stepping closer to examine my latest piece. It was a mix of blues and reds, chaotic, yet somehow harmonious. "Thank you," I replied, feeling a warmth rise in my chest. "It's how I've been feeling lately, a bit all over the place." Sarah chuckled softly. "You're turning your pain into art. That's powerful. I'm proud of you." I smiled at her words. They were a reminder that I was not alone in this journey. Even though Ethan had betrayed me, my friends stood by me, lifting me up when I needed it most. "I feel stronger," I admitted. "Every time I paint, I remember who I am, not just who I was with him." As weeks passed, I embraced my independence. I started going out more, exploring places in the city that I had forgotten about. One Saturday, I decided to visit a local gallery. Walking through the vibrant space filled me with inspiration. Each piece told a story, and I felt my own story intertwining with theirs. At the gallery, I bumped into Tom, an old friend from college. He looked just as surprised to see me. "Lila, it's been ages," he said, his face lighting up. "Tom, I didn't expect to see you here," I replied, my heart racing a little. "How have you been?" We chatted for a while, reminiscing about our college days. It felt good to laugh and share memories. "You know, I've always admired your work," he said, glancing at a painting nearby. "You have such a unique way of seeing the world." "Thanks. I've been getting back into it," I said, feeling a sense of pride. "Art has become my therapy lately." "I'd love to see more of your work," Tom suggested. "Maybe we can grab coffee sometime." I hesitated for a moment, but then nodded. "Sure, that sounds great. I'd like that." As I left the gallery, I felt lighter. My heart was beginning to open up again, and I was finally learning to embrace solitude instead of fearing it. I realized that being alone didn't mean being lonely. It meant finding myself again. Later that week, I met with Sarah and another friend, Jenna, at our favorite cafe. We laughed and shared stories, and I felt a sense of belonging. "I've been thinking," Jenna said, stirring her coffee. "What's next for you, Lila? You've been through so much." I took a deep breath, considering her question. "I want to keep painting. I want to have a show. I want to share my story through my art," I said, my voice steady. "That's an amazing idea," Sarah exclaimed. "You need to show the world what you can do. You've found your voice again." I smiled at their encouragement, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. I think I'm ready to show my work. It's time to embrace this new chapter in my life. As I continued to navigate this journey, I found joy in the little things. I began to wake up early to watch the sunrise, taking walks in the park, and enjoying the beauty around me. I started to see life differently, appreciating the moments I once took for granted. "I never realized how much I missed this," I said to myself one morning, watching the colors of the sky change. I felt a sense of peace enveloping me, a reminder that I was moving forward. Each day was a step toward reclaiming my identity, and I started to see the beauty in my journey of healing. I was no longer defined by Ethan's betrayal, but by my strength and resilience. I was embracing independence, and with it, I was discovering the woman I was meant to be. I stood in front of the mirror, the morning light pouring into my small apartment, illuminating the changes that had blossomed within me. Each day felt like a new beginning, a fresh canvas waiting for me to paint my story. As I ran my fingers through my hair, I couldn't help but think back to the woman I used to be. The betrayal had shaken me to my core, but it had also sparked a fire I never knew existed. I was no longer just Lila, the wife. I was becoming Lila, the woman. "Hey, Lila, you ready for our brunch?" my friend Mia called from the other room. Her voice pulled me from my reflections. It was amazing how much support I had around me now. My friends had surrounded me like a fortress, helping me reclaim my life piece by piece. "Almost there," I replied, putting on a bright smile. As we sat down at our favorite cafe, the aroma of fresh coffee filled the air. The table was adorned with plates of colorful dishes, reflecting the joy and vibrancy I had started to embrace again. Mia looked at me intently, her eyes sparkling with encouragement. "Lila, you seem different. I mean, really different," she said, taking a sip of her coffee. "You're glowing." I laughed, the sound light and free. "It's funny. I thought I'd be hiding in my room, but I feel alive. It's like I've woken up from a long sleep." "Good. You deserve every moment of happiness," Mia replied, her enthusiasm infectious. "What's next for you?" I paused, considering her question. The world felt full of possibilities now, and I wanted to explore them all. "I've been thinking about taking that painting class I always wanted to try. And maybe some dance lessons too," I said, excitement bubbling in my chest. "Absolutely! You should do it!" Mia encouraged, clapping her hands. "You have so much talent, Lila. It's time for you to shine." The idea of putting myself out there again was intimidating, but I felt ready. The pain from my past was still there, but it had transformed into something powerful. I wanted to take risks, to feel alive in a way I hadn't felt in years. As we finished our brunch, I glanced around the cafe, watching people laugh and share stories. I realized I wanted to join in on that laughter, to build connections without fear. "Do you think I'll ever love again?" I asked Mia, a hint of vulnerability creeping into my voice. "What if I get hurt? Lila, you are already brave. You faced your fears with Ethan, and look at you now. Love is a risk, but so is life," she replied softly. "You have to open your heart again, even if it scares you." Her words resonated deep within me. The fear of getting hurt was real, but it was also a part of the journey. I didn't want to live in the shadow of my past. I wanted to step into the light, where love and connection flourished. Walking back to my apartment, I felt a sense of purpose with each step. I was not just moving forward, I was embracing the unknown with open arms. The city buzzed around me, each sound a reminder that life continued, and I wanted to be part of it. That evening, I sat down with a blank canvas and a palette of colors. I took a deep breath and began to paint. Each stroke was a release, a way to express the emotions that churned inside me. I painted the pain, the joy, and the hope for a brighter tomorrow. With every layer of paint, I felt more empowered. This was my story, and I was ready to share it with the world. As I stepped back to admire my work, I realized that Reflections of Betrayal was not just about heartbreak. It was about the strength found in vulnerability, the beauty of self-discovery, and the courage to move forward. I was ready to seize every opportunity life had to offer and embrace whatever came next. "Here's to new beginnings," I whispered to myself, my heart swelling with hope. The past would always be a part of me, but it was no longer my chains. I was free, and my journey was just beginning. Share this story if you believe that love and resilience can conquer even the toughest challenges. Leave a comment about how a surprising twist in your life has inspired you, and subscribe to our channel for more uplifting stories like this one. Let's embark on this journey of growth and new beginnings together.